KFIAM 640, you have Dr. Wendy Walsh with you. This is the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show. I am very excited to introduce you to my next guest. She is a feminist activist, lawyer, and writer. She was the first woman attorney in the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's General Counsel office and drafted many landmark decisions. But at a certain point, she became frustrated and she confided to Betty Friedan that the EEOC wasn't enforcing the law against sex discrimination and that someone needed to start an organization for women. She went on to co-found the National Organization for Women in 1966. Please welcome Sonia Pressman Fuentes. Hello, Sonia.
Hello, am I speaking to Dr. Walsh?
You certainly are. Where are you located in the world? Are you in New York?
I am in Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, beautiful. Stay inside. Wear a mask. Wash your hands.
I've been doing it for many months.
I love the title of your book. Before we talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I have to say that I love the title of your book. In retirement, she has written a book called Eat First. You don't know what they'll give you. The Adventures of an Immigrant Family and Their Feminist Daughter. When did you know that you were a feminist?
It started in 1965, shortly after I joined the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
And you realized that women were not getting those equal opportunities.
Well, I guess I'd known that before, but what happened was that the EEOC was not for the first year, a year and a quarter, or a year and a half, enforcing a brand new law which prohibited employment discrimination against women. And when I saw that, I got angry and became a feminist.
Well, we're certainly grateful that you did. And you also crossed paths many times with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Tell me about one time. I know you had lunch with her on one particular occasion. Describe her for me.
Well, she and I had a good bit in common in that we were both petite, mature, Jewish women lawyers who were feminist activists. We both had immigrant backgrounds. And the luncheon that you refer to was a luncheon on June 9th, 2008. It was hosted by an organization called the Veteran Feminists of America. And on that occasion, the VFA was honoring about 34 feminist lawyers in the United States because of their activities. And Justice Ginsburg and I were among the 34, although she was, of course, first among equals. And I don't remember how this happened, but at lunchtime, I was at a small table having lunch with Justice Ginsburg, her husband Marty, and a friend and colleague of mine, Muriel Fox, who was also a co-founder of NOW.
It sounds like you were there when history was being made in the 1960s and 70s. Let me ask you, from the place that you sit now and you see the Me Too movement and the new waves that are happening in feminism, where do you think our most important work needs to be done to help women?
I don't know that I can pick just one area. Right now, we have to see what can be done so that Justice Ginsburg is replaced by the next president of the United States and not by the current president. That's number one right now. But beyond that, there are many issues that still need to be dealt with. Domestic violence is one. There are many, many.
Yes, and motherhood. You know, it's wonderful to give women equal opportunities, but it's also, we need to understand that women in their childbearing years as employees have different needs. And I often say that I won't be happy until there is free childcare in every single workplace. And now that we have COVID, there is free childcare in every but it's by the parents doing two jobs at the same time, parenting and working from home.
Well, you mentioned childcare, which is one of the top areas. I have a daughter who's about 48 now, and when I was raising her, and I had the salary of a professional woman, and I was married, and the biggest problem I had raising her, starting 48 years ago, was finding reasonable, competent child care, and if anything, it's worse today.
I agree with you. I've been a single mother for 15 years with 100% custody and $0 child support, and that has been the biggest struggle. Is every second that I'm working, I'm feeling guilty that I'm not with my kids, and every second that I'm with my kids, I'm feeling guilty that I'm not out there making enough money to feed them. I'm constantly not happy in one place or the other. And we need to fix that for women everywhere, especially.
And nothing's happening in that area.
No. So maybe I'm going to have to take over and be an activist like you. Maybe it's time.
Be my guest.
You know, my daughter is very active. She's 22 years old, and she's very active in the Black Lives Matter movement and some other organizations that she's working with. And when I told her the title of the book, Eat First, You Don't Know What They'll Give You, she laughed out loud because it's just such basic advice. If you're going to a protest, you might get arrested, you might get tear gassed, you might as well do it all on a full stomach.
Well, it didn't come from anything that worthwhile. My mother was an immigrant from Poland and Germany, as I was. We were refugees, not immigrants. And she kept a kosher home. And when she cooked for me and my father, she cooked with love. And then as I was growing up, becoming a teenager and beyond a teenager, I would sometimes get invitations for dinner. And that made my mother uncomfortable because she didn't know what kind of food I'd be served, whether it would be kosher, whether it would be fresh. So she was very serious when she said she wanted me to eat dinner home first before I went out to dinner so that she'd know I had a good meal.
Oh, that's so sweet. She cared about you so much. Well, I want to personally thank you for the work that you've done in your life. I've been talking with Sonia Pressman Fuentes, one of the early co-founders of the National Organization for Women, a contemporary and acquaintance of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Thank you for your lifetime of work that is continuing even in retirement. And thanks for being with me today.
It's been a pleasure.
So nice to meet you. Oh, I just feel like I just touched history. I'm getting tingles up my spine. Okay, when we come back, can we talk more about friendship and why, while we're under masks and hiding from strangers because we think they're going to infect us, it's actually impacting our mental health? We need strangers around us. You're listening to the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show on KFIAM 640.